All right, folks, this is a good one. It comes up. I think I've said this before. If you watch my videos, people think when I put out, here's your estimated closing costs, they think, okay, the closing costs are $10,000. I don't want to pay you $10,000, and I don't think people really understand when you're buying a house. There's multiple services and things that are taking place, and different people getting paid, and that's what the closing costs are. Okay, so I want to do a video on who actually gets paid. I don't think anybody talks about it. So, who makes the money when you buy a house? I think that's what I'm going to talk about today. And I don't know if you'll get anything from it, but I think it's a good one. So, you have to understand a lot of money is changing hands in a home interaction or a home purchase. So, if we wanted to just start from the very simple, somebody has something that you want, that's the seller. Okay, so the seller is selling their house, and ideally, the seller is going to be making some money to sell that house. It's not always the case, but that's what it is. You're looking to buy it. Um, so let's talk about who gets paid when you look to buy, right? So first things first, your agent. You're going to hire an agent. Do you have to hire an agent? I think that's important. No, you don't have to hire an agent. However, I had somebody yesterday. I was on the phone with them, and a lot of people don't realize what agents do, how much work they actually do in order to help you get the house that you want, right? It is a lot, especially if you live in a very litigious state. Uh, for the layman's, right? Litigious means the state where people sue you. Okay, so great example: state of California, people sue people here. Okay, I physically live in California, of course, Patriot Pacific. We do loans all over the country, so I'm pretty well versed in other states as well. But in California, there's like 300 plus pages of just stuff, tons of freaking disclosures, and it is what it is. But you having a real estate agent there goes a long way, whether it's to sell a house or buy a house. The best way I could explain them, they are the ringmaster to a circus of cats. Okay, that's what real estate agents do. There's so many moving pieces that the average person just does not see. Agents don't put it all out there as far as what they really deal with and how much. It's a ton of freaking stress. They're always negotiating on your behalf because they have a fiduciary duty to you or whomever hired them, right? So they should be moving in your best interest. And if you pick a good one, they have a wealth of experience and knowledge so they can give you guidance, recommendations, and so on and so forth. But really, at the end of the day, the buyer's agent is going to get paid. The seller's agent is going to get paid. The brokerages will probably receive compensation as well. And they usually split that with the agent. So that's to keep in mind. And I'm using the key word of compensation. It used to be the word was commission. They changed that with a lot of things. But this is the big one. When they changed it to compensation, you don't have to pay them. I have my personal beliefs, but somebody is going to pay them. So this is, let me put this out there. If you're hiring an agent, you're selling your house, you're hiring an agent, um, you, you don't call a plumber and have them come in and do your plumbing and say, well, I'm not paying you. Then why in the hell would they do the plumbing? Okay, so now this is where we get into the compensation portion. You have a seller's agent, somebody is selling the house. The way that it used to be traditionally, or I would say a de facto standard, if you don't know what that means, ChatGPT it. The de facto standard was the seller was going to take a portion of their equity. They were hiring a real estate agent, okay, to get that home sold. That agent, the seller's agent, negotiated what that commission would be. Based off of that commission, the seller's agent was able to put out information and offer a portion of their commission to other real estate agents to bring a buyer. That was part of the seller's agent's job. At the end of the day, you're hiring them to bring a buyer. So they either brought a buyer and they got the full commission, or they gave away a portion of their commission to a different agent and they kept a portion. So they do the sell side, and then whoever brought the buyer, they would do the buy side paperwork, and then everybody would get it done. And back then, de facto was a 6%. That could be, but it's negotiable. It could be anything. You can say, I'll pay you 2%. If you want to give away 1% of your 2%, you're welcome to do that. Now, when did that change? Not that long ago. It was last year. So it's 2026 right now. I think it was 2025. Went to compensation. And then the seller's agent got their own compensation from the seller. And the buyer, or the buyer's agent, excuse me, would get their compensation from the buyer. Okay, I'm working for you, buyer, and you are going to pay me to help you find your home and then do all of the legal paperwork, as opposed to how it used to be set up. Now, the sellers can still offer compensation to the buyer's agent, and most do, because if you view it from what I said to begin with, it makes sense to do that. But there are a lot of people that say, nope, I'm not paying. Okay, well, then you're trusting that your one agent will only be the person to bring a buyer, which really limits your freaking pool significantly. Or you're hoping that the buyer's agent or the buyers will pay their own buyer's agent the compensation needed in order to perform the task that's going to be required to get your house sold for the most money possible in the shortest amount of time. It's a tough one. It's definitely, something that people debate about still, but I'll leave that to you. If you're looking to buy a house or sell a house, I'll leave that to you and your agent. I'm just putting information out there. At the end of the day, agents, buyer and seller, are both going to get some variation of compensation when a house is being sold. Okay, that's important to know. Mortgage lenders, myself, that's what I do. I'm a mortgage loan originator. People call me because they want to borrow money in order to purchase a home. So yes, I don't work for free, nor any other mortgage lender would work for free. However, it's important to know that MLOs, the compensation typically comes from the bank. I always use the word bank when I do these videos because not everybody understands. When people hear the word lender, they think of me, right? I'm legally a mortgage loan originator, or you'll hear senior loan officer, right? There's different types of loan officers, right? Mortgage loan originator originates the loans for a lender, which is the bank. I use the word bank because it's easier for people to wrap their head around it. So the true lender is the person giving you the money. The mortgage loan originator is the person that's creating the note in order to get you that money, all right? So yes, typically the lender or the bank is going to pay the MLO, the senior loan officer, myself. They're going to pay me. However, it could either be the bank, right, lender paid, or it could be borrower paid. I've said this before in other videos. If you want to negotiate getting a cheaper rate, or, I would say if you have cash on hand, talk to your lender or your MLO, your mortgage loan originator, senior loan officer, and see if you can go borrower paid and find out how much cheaper it would be. If you have money on hand, I'm telling you, it's a neat little secret that not many people talk about. But anyways, depending on the structure, that's how the lender is going to get paid. And that's another person that's getting paid. You'll always see that. I think I did a video recently when it came to the disclosures, and that's on the second page, either your loan estimate or also the CD. It's going to be on your section page in section A. Second page, section A. All right. The appraiser. This is important because a lot of people get worked up about this, and I've tossed this around in my head even too. Okay, so the appraiser is going to get paid. They're an independent professional that's going to provide their opinion on what the home is worth. So you're wanting to go to the bank and say, bank, I want to borrow $500,000 to buy this house. And the bank says, we don't mind giving that to you, but we need to make sure that that house is worth $500,000. Now, in my logical mind, I'll tell you what the truth is, and I'll tell you what I think sometimes. Sometimes I sit there and think, okay, well, if the bank wants to know, then the bank should just pay for the appraiser to go out there and see that it appraises. But the question is, who is in the need here? The borrower. I'm the one that wants to borrow the money from the bank. Therefore, I need to show and prove that this home is worth $500,000, so they'll allow me to have that money because they're going to appraise whatever the appraised value is. That's what the bank will pay. If it comes in under appraised value, and I've done videos on this, well, that's a different conversation. But if it's appraises at $500,000 and you're borrowing $500,000, the bank is good with that. But it needs to be an independent professional providing that opinion. I could keep going on that one for a while on how appraisals work. Maybe I'll do it in another video. But long story short, they got to get paid, and it's coming out of the borrower's pocket. So let's just recap here, okay? Agent, if you're buying a house, who's getting paid? Your real estate agent is getting paid. It's either going to be you or the seller that are going to be paying them. The mortgage loan originator, the loan officer, is going to be getting paid. Almost all the time, it's going to be the bank that pays them, or it could be you. The next person that's going to get paid is the appraiser. You are going to pay for the appraisal. Next one, the home inspection. The home inspection is set up by and people get confused on this a lot. I deal with this so much. The home inspection is set up by your real estate agent. What is the appraisal? The appraisal is it worth what I want to borrow? What is the home inspection? Am I buying a good quality home? Two different animals. The bank doesn't really care about the home inspection per se unless it's really jacked up, right? So the roof, home inspection says the roof is freaking toast. Well, the bank has a problem with that because they want to make sure that they're getting a good home that's in working order, but that will come out on the appraisal. The home inspection is you saying, you know what, I want to buy this house, but I want to make sure I'm not walking into any unforeseen issues. I want to make sure that the HVAC is good. I want to make sure that the water system's good. I want to make sure that there isn't any electrical issues. I want them to check the attic. I want them to look and see if there's any major issues. I want to make sure there's no pest or termite, right? So that's what the home inspection is, that the roof is good. So you're paying, somebody that is licensed and has the expertise to inspect that house, detailed inspection for your protection. For your protection. Now, do you have to do that? No, you don't. The appraisal is required. You have to do that. The home inspection, you absolutely do not have to do a home inspection. If you want to take a shot in the dark that the house, I trust them, should be good, you can. Most agents are going to tell you, you should probably get a home inspection for a couple $100 for peace of mind to make sure that you get a good house. And this is the other one. If the home inspector finds stuff, it turns out they have a hot live electrical wire in the shower, right? That would be good to know because what will end up happening is it comes back, you get the inspection, and then you create what's called a request for repairs, or R, if you're a pirate. If I don't know if any pirates watch this. I don't know if anybody's even still watching this at 12 minutes. But anyways, if you're a pirate, it's an R, so a request for repairs, okay? And ideally, the seller goes, holy crap, I didn't know I had a hot electrical wire in the shower. I'd hate for you to be showering in there and you get shocked, right? So you ask for them to repair it. Or if they don't want to repair it, then you ask them to give you money so you can get it repaired when you close on the house. So the home inspector also going to get paid. Escrow. Escrow is a neutral third party that handles all contracts and settles all monies and everything between all parties. That's the best way I could explain it. I could probably go deeper. Maybe I should go deeper. So basically they handle the money, the documents, neutral settlement functions. They receive and distribute the money. They coordinate the documents and the closing statements and handle the payoffs. And they make sure that everybody does their part of whatever the contracts say. They make sure that everything is done. So escrow is super important, and honestly, you're always going to need some type, no matter what state, there's some type of escrow there. It could be through attorneys. There's always going to be somebody that's doing that, and they don't work for free. So this is the other one. Well, I should just do it myself. Okay, what, from watching a YouTube? Anyways, I'm going to stop. Somebody's going to be on here, and you're going to get all butthurt. I'm like, I can't believe you just said that. I look at stuff on YouTube. I'm smart. I get that. But whatever you do, so put it like this. I'm not a plumber. I can do some stuff around the house. I'm handy, I'm good. I got the mustache. I could figure out plumbing stuff. But if I have a serious issue and I don't have the experience, I could probably try to look it up on YouTube and try to do it. Or I just get somebody that's all they do every day, 4 years, expert, solid. And almost always it's going to be cheaper. That's my view when it comes to certain things like this. But anyways, I'll stop. So escrow, you're going to have to pay for escrow. Recap one more time. Okay, let's hit it up. You're looking at agents, real estate agents. It's going to be the mortgage loan officer, the appraisal, home inspection, escrow, now title. Title's pretty freaking important too. That basically ensures that the property's ownership, the ownership history, the public records, any liens, judgments, ownership issues, other title matters. It ensures that you're getting a clean title and clear conveyance of title for you to have ownership of that property. Okay, I'm telling you, title is super important, especially when you talk about buying older homes. Older homes are going to have some wonky stuff going on sometimes, depending on the area. I've had older homes that have easements running through the middle of the house. or the square footage is messed up because it wasn't transferred appropriately from this place to that place back in 1775, right? Or what? It's not 1775, you know what I mean? But forever ago, the 1970s, 1960s, they didn't just transition all this stuff. Title's going to sort all that out. So when you buy the house, it's your house. It's all sorted out. Next one, homeowners insurance. I actually had somebody call me the other day like, why do I need homeowners insurance? Same reason you need car insurance, dental insurance, health insurance, any reason why you would get insurance. Homeowners insurance is so, if something goes wrong, you aren't on the dime. Just saying. So yeah, this is not lender compensation. Some people actually think the homeowners insurance, I don't get anything from that. That is 100% going towards, it's a requirement. The bank isn't going to let you borrow money, just like your car. You go and buy a car, but you're borrowing money against that car to buy it. You are required to have auto insurance because if you wreck that car, the bank wants to get paid. Sorry, you're out of car, but we want it. We want our money back. Same thing with homeowners insurance. It's not rocket science. For some reason, it still is to some people. Property taxes. Look, some states are really good about this. Other states, if you live in a broke state, listen up, partner. You got a choice. You can move, buy a house somewhere else, or be good with the paying that sunshine tax for the people in California. You live in that broke state, you're going to pay property taxes. There's no getting around that one. I did a write-up and a video that broke down the history of property taxes. I don't know why, maybe because I'm a little bit of a nerd, but like breaking down how it came about and how it's progressed up to this point. And the original function of it, property taxes. Okay, I'll go off. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole real quick. When you talk about what's really beautiful and unique about America is the simple fact this is why people say buying a house is the American dream. They say it because that's what people say, but they don't understand the history or context behind it. This is one of the few countries at the time when we were established, or even still, where you get to own a piece of America. You can buy and own a piece of America. That wasn't the case. When you look back at the time when we started establishing this country, you had people that were nobles, or they were part of the king's court or queen's court or whatever it was. They were landowners, and you happened to live on their land, and your labors or something, you always ended up giving back in that regard. You get to own a piece of America. You're buying soil and dirt that's physically here, but that also brought about the property taxes and how, it's an easy way, because again, nothing's really changed from when you look at that history of noble has this, noble has to pay taxes, therefore noble passes taxes down. But there's going to be things like school systems, road work, this, that, and the other, fire department, police department. Everybody kicks in taxes to cover these costs. So the entire community, town, or village, right, gets the benefit of living in that area. So property taxes, you're not getting around it. Government and recording charges. This is going to be there. So that's recording of the trust deed, recording the mortgage deed of trust, transfer taxes when applicable. Every state's going to be a little bit different on that, but there's a cost. And here's some other people that might get paid depending on state, specifically when it comes to attorneys. Different states use attorneys, so that's one. Surveyors sometimes, pest and termite. So almost always pest and termite come out in what's called Section 1. Almost always the seller is going to cover those costs because they want to hand a good quality home to the buyer out the gate, right? Some sellers are like, I don't care, I'm selling it as is. It's got termites, it's for you to deal with. You can absolutely do that. It just changes the loan product sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it changes the loan product so we can make sure that we can cover those costs for pest and termite, because you don't want to pay out of pocket for them to do that on their own. And then what if they change their mind? You just dropped $1,000 to $14,000 to deal with the termite, and then they're like, we don't want to sell our house anymore. We like it this way, and you're just out. So we need to build it into the actual loan. So when we close, that's covered and dealt with, and it's paid out of escrow. So you aren't changing one for the other. You're not losing. It protects you. Other things, HOA. If you got HOAs, there's usually you're going to have to pay some upfront fees for docs and things like that from the HOA. Flood search, credit reports. Sometimes there's contractors that are going to be involved. Home warranty companies like NHD, things like that. Home warranties. And I would just say that there's going to be some outliers on there. That's all going to pop up again in your disclosures. And is it B or C? I think nope, it's going to be in section C of page 2. Section B are costs you cannot. No, it's going to be in both. It actually goes in both, B and C. Anyways, so if you're looking at your disclosures, where it's at. And then, of course, don't forget, the biggest recipient of the money is usually the seller, right? So the most of the money that you're going to be paying for this house, the seller gets to keep a little bit of a chunky chunk of it, and that's how that goes down. So I want to make sure that it's really understood. When or a lender tells you, here's your closing costs, those closing costs doesn't mean I'm making that money. I don't make that money, okay? That goes to a whole lot of people. I just told you who all those people were. We'll recap it one more time. So you got to look at the closing disclosure and try to break down who that is. And if you have a good lender, they're going to break it down for you anyway. So lender, appraiser, escrow, title, insurance, government, taxing, and then of course outlining other services. Those are the people that are really going to be getting it. Now, what I wish if I had more time, because I just went over 20 minutes, I would have broke down like prepaids, and I'll probably do another video on that, because prepaids just mess people up when they start. They're like, whoa, my homeowners insurance is like $120 a month. Why do I got to pay $7,000 up front? Those are prepaids, but that's a different conversation that would take me, because of the way I talk, that would take me a while to break that down for you. So we'll get that in the next video. But at least now you're walking away knowing, which was my goal, who gets paid, right? So who makes that money when you buy a house? Now you know, and as they said in G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle. Yo, Joe. That's all I got. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one. I'm hoping you're enjoying these videos. If you are, drop me a comment, hit the like button, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Be good.